All right, so Rod, we are back again. Last week, and I wouldn't say last week, but the last episode, we did the AFC, the 6 contenders that we had a good feeling about, that we think are going to be in the mix at the end of the season. So it's only right that this episode we follow it up with the NFC. And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of hard to do it because there's so many teams.
Bro, the NFC is fucking loaded. Like, there's at least maybe 8-9 teams that you could see going, all the way through the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a bunch of fucking teams. Like, I'm not gonna fucking lie. But before we even get to that, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the most shocking news that I could honestly remember in a long time. You were the one who actually texted me. I'm just looking at my phone, just dicking around, and next thing I know, I get a text and it should say Rod. He was like, "Yo, Andrew Luck retired, bro." And I'm like, "Nigga, what? The fuck is you talking about, bro?"
Bro, I remember I was just on Facebook, and it wasn't even like a news outlet. It was somebody posted it, and I thought they were like, I was like, nah, bro. Like, someone posted a status like, "Holy shit, Andrew Luck just retired." I was like, what? I immediately, bro. First thing anybody does, Google. Went straight to fucking Google, bro. And then I type it, and then I see 20 minutes ago. This is how I knew it was true, Herb. And any football fan, anybody who watches, especially NFL football, knows this. Adam Schefter reports.
Yeah.
When I seen that,
yeah, for sure.
Oh, bro, I was like, oh man, this nigga's gone. And you know what? And I just want to talk about how it's crazy because like I seen like a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. Like, some people were just like, yeah, I understand. I seen there was a former player, I don't remember who it was, it escapes me right now, but he was criticizing Andrew Luck for the way he chose to retire. Fans booed him when they found out, and I seen a lot of people were mad about that. And I'm gonna be honest, when I found out he retired, after the shock, I was disappointed for like a few seconds. I was just like, man, this nigga retired. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not living this man's life, bruh. And I watched this man. This man, through his career, averaged, 16 hits a game? Something along those lines. Like, Andrew Luck spent his whole career getting killed. The Colts organization didn't do anything. Like, look at any organization that has a franchise quarterback. What's one of the things that we notice? They're protected. Drew Brees would not be Drew Brees as long as he hasn't been protected. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning when he was in the league. When Dan Marino was Dan Marino had a season where he was sacked like 8 times, and he had a quick release, but his O-line could block for him. Like, you need to protect your investment, and the Colts didn't do a good job of that. And Andrew Luck said he was tired of living in pain. I watched the press conference. Dude said, "Look, man," and the guy loved football. Like, he's one of those guys. He got up on the podium, and you could tell he was kind of a doofus, if you ask me, but he was genuine though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you knew he loved the game, and it was sad to see Andrew Luck go. But I understand, brother. Like, listen, man, no one wants to live in pain. There are people who live in pain from other things, veterans. Fucking people who go through mental illness, depression. You were living in physical pain every fucking day, and then you're getting hit for a fucking living, and your O-line. And it's sad because he finally got an O-line to block for him.
And that's the part that I want to go ahead and touch on, because it's crazy, because it's like the first several years of his career, they wanted to be cheap. They tried to, and the crazy part is they weren't cheap, actually. They just had one of the worst GMs who's ever graced a professional football GM room. His name was Ryan Grigson. Oh, God, bro. Like, he's as much to blame for this as anybody. But before I get to that part, I just want to go ahead and give my surreal, like, my thoughts when it happened. Because I was just like, what the fuck is Rodney talking about, bro? This nigga just had an all-pro season, bro. He would have probably been the first team All-Pro if Patrick Mahomes didn't throw 50 touchdowns. Like, that don't even make sense, bruh. And I read it, and like you said, Adam Schefter is not going to be wrong. Adam Schefter is the best in the business. So when I saw Adam Schefter reports, or breaking news, Adam Schefter reports Andrew Luck retired, I'm like, yo, this really is for real. Like, he legit retired. And the selfish side of me definitely feels the type of way, because I like seeing greatness. No matter who it's from, I just like seeing great. I like seeing people be great. I like seeing the best of the best. I like seeing what what you were putting on this earth to do and being the best at it.
Right.
But then the other side of me, the rational side of me, the human side of me was like, for him to do this at the prime of his career, like, who knows what he was going through.
Right. And you know he loved football.
And I know, of course he loved football. You can't get to that level if you don't fucking love it. It's too much of a grind. And that's what fucking Rob Gronkowski was talking about. You know what I'm saying? He talked about the issue. He was just like, football was taking the love away from him. So he had to just give it up. You know what I'm saying? But back to Ryan Griskin and back to the first couple of years, this dude was on average hit 42 times, like a game. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy part is they finally cleaned up everything. They got Quentin Nelson. You know what I'm saying? First team All-Pro as a rookie. Like, he got hit the least amount of any quarterback. But the damage was already done.
Too little, too late.
The toll was already taken. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ryan Griskin out here giving $30 million to Godsir Cherilus or whatever the fuck his name from the Lions. Just trash. Like, fucking trash, dog. And it's making me wonder about other quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson. With Deshaun Watson hits 30 and he gets sacked 62 times in the season again and again and again. Is he going to say, fuck this, bro? Like, Cam. I saw Cam in the fucking preseason. Cam looked like he's not even having fun, but I know that he loves the game. You know what I'm saying? So will Cam retire in a couple years, bro? Like, the toll is, you can see the toll on Cam. So I just wanted to go ahead and touch on that. We lost a really good quarterback. Thank God that there's such an influx of new talent coming to the league to replace him. So he's not going to be as missed, but you don't want to see great players go. You don't want to see that, especially for just a loss of love of the game or whatever.
And it cuts deep, man, when you see it, bro, because Andy was fun to watch, bro. Like, and he was, and Herb was the first person I ever heard say this, so I give all the credit to him. Man, he was Brett Favre. He was the new way. Everybody said he was going to be John Elway. He was Brett Favre, but he was still an awesome quarterback. And Andy, it was sad to see you go, brother. But enjoy that NFL money, man.
Definitely, because he made $100 million, so he good.
Yeah, he's great.
And his dad is getting $20 million from the XFL, so he's Gucci. But let's get on with the actual show itself. So the NFC, you know what I'm saying? Like, the season hasn't started, so just to do a little recap, like I said at the beginning of the episode, what we're doing right now, we're just previewing who we think are going to be the good teams. And I can't wait to do the actual next episode because we're just going to roast all the bad teams. But that's going to be neither here nor there. We're going to get to that. But for today's episode, let's go ahead and do that. Let's highlight the good teams that we think are going to be the good teams in the NFC. You know how we do it. 6 contenders. We have a question for each one. The teams that we felt like when we put our heads together, we were like, okay, this NFC is loaded. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of dark horses. There's a lot of contenders. I don't even think there's any pretenders because anybody could have a good season. And depending on how good or how hard your schedule is, that can make you look like a pretender, but you just had a hard schedule, bro. You know what I'm saying? NFC South. The NFC South, there's 3 teams that can win that division.
Yep.
The NFC West, the NFC West, there's 3 teams that can win that division.
Loaded, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like the AFC North, there's technically 3 teams that can win that division.
Yeah.
The NFC East, there's technically 3 teams that can win that division. So the shit is super loaded. But we're going to go on who we think. And I'm going to start with my contender. And the question I have, we just seen them in the Super Bowl. We talked about the Patriots, so obviously we're going to start with the loser. If you made the Super Bowl, you obviously have to be a contender. That's going to be the Rams. And the question I have for the Rams is, are they able to get back to the Super Bowl? History says no.
Yeah.
History says no. Like, getting back to the Super Bowl, especially if you lost the Super Bowl, like, the numbers would just shock you, bruh. And I have a couple of them pointed up right now. 54% of the teams who lost the Super Bowl don't win a playoff game in the following year.
Sheesh.
32% of those teams don't even make the playoffs. 72% of the teams who lost the Super Bowl finish with a worse record the following year. Like, there's so much historical evidence that says that they could still be a good team and not even win a game. Because the game of football is that hard. That's why what happened to the Falcons is so devastating. They were up 28-3. They lost, and they didn't even make the playoffs the next year. You don't know when you're going to get back. You really don't know when you're going to get back. And there's some other evidence that shows that it might be a lot harder to climb that mountain again. What the fuck is going on with Todd Gurley?
Right. They've been real, like, mysterious about what's going on with him. And then they lost, and then, you know, that was their money in the bank season, right? And they lost Sue, who was good for them.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? They lost LaMarcus Joyner, who was good for them.
Yep.
You know, they lost Mark Barron, who was good for them.
Mark Barron was really good because he actually found a position that fit. He found a system that fit.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And then they lost one of their offensive linemen who was actually pretty decent, Roger Saffold, John Sullivan, their center. They lost CJ Anderson, who in the playoffs was actually pretty good for him. He was a freaking wrecking ball. So they're not even as talented as they were last season. So when you look at it, I do think they're a contender because they still have enough talent. But the question I have for them, like your question, and this goes in line with your question, is Jared Goff, bro. Jared Goff, in my opinion, and I've watched a lot of Super Bowls, gave us one of the worst Super Bowl performances I've ever fucking seen. And that's with Tom Brady, the GOAT, giving us one of his worst Super Bowl performances that I ever seen.
You know the crazy part about that Super Bowl, and this is the part that made me lose all faith, because going into the Super Bowl, going into the whole playoff thing, like, even in the game against the Saints, like, they were dominant in the first half, and then they just started. You saw the chink in the armor in the second half. That's why the Saints were able to come back. My issue with Jared Goff is that I saw a deer in the headlights. Like, when they took everything away that Sean McVay wanted to do, and you realize that it was on him to see the field, you realize how much Sean McVay babied him, how much Sean McVay pacified him. Bill Belichick had a masterclass in coaching from a defensive standpoint. And you saw, like, there was so many times where the Rams defense played great. The game wasn't good. Neither offense shined because both defenses were that good. Right. But Tom Brady was able to make one play. All it took was one play. Jared Goff couldn't do that.
In the most important moment of his career.
The most important moment of his career. So that's another reason why it's just like, damn, like, I think they're gonna fall to the Super Bowl loser curse. Like, there's too much. You have history stacked against them. You have Jared Goff also stacked against them on a big stage. Like, Sean McVay is an excellent coach. Sean McVay is damn near a savant, but you can't fight your own quarterback, dog. If your quarterback ain't got it, he ain't got it. And I'll be the first to be proven wrong. I have nothing against the Rams.
Right. You
know what I'm saying? All I'm going off of is what history showed me and what Jared Goff showed me in the most important game of his life.
In which he was booty sweat. Oh, man.
But Washington, more importantly, and sorry to cut you off, more importantly, like, Todd Gurley is a huge, 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 huge factor when it comes to their offense. This dude has an arthritic knee. Right. Like, your knee doesn't get better once you start losing cartilage, dog. It only gets worse. They drafted Darrell Henderson for a reason. You don't draft Darrell Henderson if you feel like Todd Gurley, who gave you 17 touchdowns last year, who was the most dynamic non-quarterback in the league, non-wide receiver not named Tyreek Hill in the league last year. You don't do that.
And he was an MVP candidate the year before.
Exactly. You don't let CJ Anderson finish games if nothing's wrong with Todd Gurley, bro. So, like I said, my question is, will they be able to fight the Super Bowl hangover? History says no. Jared Goff is working against them as well. Todd Gurley's health is working against that as well. So I don't think so. What about you?
Well, Herb, I'm not going to lie, bro. You made a lot of compelling points. because I didn't think about the Super Bowl curse and whatnot. The thing with the Rams is, when you ask the question, is the question strictly them making it back to the Super Bowl, like, or just having any kind of success in the playoffs?
Put it like this: what does it matter what success you have in the playoffs unless you make it back to the Super Bowl? Because once you make it to the Super Bowl, everything else is for naught.
If we're going off of that, I mean, if you ask me, they shouldn't have even made it last year. And we're gonna talk about that with the next team that we're gonna bring up, but they shouldn't have been in the Super Bowl last year. So I don't think. I think the curse is gonna afflict them, bro.
All right, so yeah,
I think it's a wrap.
Nah, thank you for bringing up the next team. Obviously, if you know anything about football, you already know where we're going with that. And that was a good lead in, Rod. Very professional. Very radio. So
appreciate you, sir.
So, Rod, speaking of that team, they shouldn't have made the Super Bowl because they had one of the worst non-calls in the history of football. We're talking about the Saints. So, what is the question that you have for the Saints?
So, anybody who watched football last year, and I'll recount it, I'll make it real short, summarize. The Saints started off blazing fucking hot. I mean, Drew Brees was looking amazing. He was an MVP candidate.
Mm-hmm.
They saw towards the end of the year, Drew Brees started to kind of fall back a little bit. They got some injuries. You know, they lost Sheldon Rankin, who was a big loss in their defense. So the question I have for them is, can the Saints recover from that terrible pass interference call and make one more title run while Drew Brees still has some juice? And when you look at the Saints, first and foremost, one of the most important things to look at, their division. They play in a tough division, bro.
They really do.
They get the Falcons last year went 7-9, but that to me, in my opinion, is a very deceptive 7-9 because the Falcons had a myriad of fucking injuries last year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They couldn't stop fucking anybody by like week 5. So they'll be back, they'll be healthier, and they have talent on defense. Matt Ryan's back, Julio Jones is back. The Falcons and the Saints, they usually split during the season. Like, they're always a tough opponent. You got the Panthers, always a threat with Cam Newton. And you know what? Even though the Bucks, the Bucks have been like a sleeper team for like the past 5 years, bro. For people,
bro, the Bucks got to be good eventually, bro.
You know, and one thing I like about the Bucks, I've always liked Bruce Arians, bro. I've always liked Bruce Arians just from the offensive side of the ball. He's one of those offensive quarterback guru niggas, bro.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
he revived Carson Palmer when people thought Carson Palmer was in the fucking dumpster fire. And little known fact, guess who was the quarterback's coach for that Carson Palmer crazy year, like the last good Carson Palmer year? Freddie Kitchens.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I know, right? But yeah, go on. Sorry to cut you off. I just want to go ahead and throw that in there.
You good, bro. That's actually good to know. But when it comes to the Saints, man, because of Drew Brees, because of Alvin Kamara, they lost Mark Ingram.
He was replaceable though.
Yeah.
He was replaceable.
He wasn't someone that was, you know. They lost Max Unger. He retired unexpectedly. He was a great player. You know, you did your service, my brother. But fucking, they did get Latavius Murray to go with fucking Alvin Kamara, which that's not a bad pickup. You know what I'm saying? They got Jared Cook, who actually low key had a good year last year. They got Marshall Newhouse. We'll see how that goes. The thing with the Saints is their defense. They lost Sheldon Rankins, even though they still have Cameron Jordan, who is one of the best defensive ends in the game. He has been for a little while. He's getting old, though. So we're going to see if he falls off a little bit. Sheldon Rankins was good for them, bro. He applied a lot of interior pressure on teams, and you could see his loss in the game against the Rams. It made a difference. They have, what's the name of that cornerback? Eli Apple.
Nah, we ain't gonna talk about that,
No,
bro.
I know. I'm talking about it because that's like, I'm basically saying what they don't have.
Yeah. You're definitely right about that.
Outside of Marshawn Lattimore, they're in trouble at cornerback. Their safety tandem is pretty good. Fucking Von Bell and Marcus Williams, who I think Marcus Williams, he was the one on the miracle play that fucked it up, right?
He was.
He actually had a really good year last year. So their safety tandem is good. They have the talent. They have the quarterback. Sean Payton has proven. He is a proven coach. He's a championship coach. What are your thoughts on the Saints, Herb? What do you feel about them?
My thoughts on the Saints is, like, they are who they are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many times can you have a heartbreaking loss in the playoffs? First, you have the miracle in Minneapolis. And then the very next year, you have the worst call in the history, the worst non-call in the history of sports, bro. Like, at some point, you have to break through. You know, like, you got to break through. And if they have to, because they already paid Michael Thomas. They just gave Michael Thomas $20 million a year. So when you give one player a lot of money, you're taking away from everybody else. They're so fortunate to have Marshawn Lattimore still on a rookie contract. But once they pay him, It's a wrap. You're not going to have the depth that you can. It's impossible. You're going to have probably the highest paid corner in the league. You're going to have the highest paid wide receiver until you're at least a top 5 paid wide receiver. And then you have Drew Brees all on the same team. And then you got to pay Alvin Kamara. They have to do this now. They have to do this now.
No choice. And imagine, bro. Imagine this, bro. And not to cut you off, Herbo, but Drew Brees was basically robbed. Drew Brees and the Saints were robbed of 2 Super Bowls back-to-back years. Like, that's just how it feels. I mean, the games play out, the winner wins, but it feels like we were robbed of Saints being in the Super Bowl 2 years back-to-back.
But you know what? Being in this age, like, I love watching historic things in the moment because 20 years from now, nobody's going to remember that. Nobody remembers the fucking loser. Nobody remembers what kind of meltdown a team had that didn't make the Super Bowl. How the 49ers of the 80s were so dominant. They went to 4 Super Bowls in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? But how many games did they should have not have won that led them to the Super Bowl, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Saints have a potential to be one of the most forgotten teams because now you know it. It's fresh in your mind. Right. You lived it. If I tell my grandkids, they're just going to look at in 2018 who was in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? The Rams beat the Saints. I guess the Saints weren't that good. No, they just had one of the most unfortunate things to ever happen to them, dog. But nobody remembers that. Right. You know what I'm saying? And they had that shit happen to them back to fucking back, bro.
That fan base must be. Hey, Saints fan, listen, man. I'm a Dolphin fan, so I don't really have much joy as a fan for my team. But you guys have an all-time quarterback. I feel for y'all, dog. Like, that's how I would feel. I feel like if the Dolphins were a good team, we would suffer that fate too.
Nah, that's why it's put like this. That just makes them winning a Super Bowl in 2009 on the hill. No, my bad. In 2000.
No, it was 2009.
Yeah. A couple years after Katrina, it makes that even more important because think about it. Think if they had these losses and they didn't win a Super Bowl and Drew Brees wasn't a Super Bowl champion. That nigga would not be able to sleep at night. He would be, I don't believe in ghosts, but if that nigga didn't win Super Bowl, I'm convinced his soul would be a fucking ghost just haunting everybody, bro.
He would
there's no way you could,
haunt Campbell.
Bro, there's no way his soul could rest, bro. With those kind of losses? Fuck no, nigga.
I'm glad Drew got one, dog. Bro. It's crazy my man ain't never won an MVP though, bro.
But yeah, you know what's crazy? Because he's just been wedged in the
Peyton Manning, Tom Brady era.
And then boom, Aaron Rodgers, boom. Now you got Patrick Mahomes. Like, what can you do, bro? I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. The problem is his best years were years where he wasn't winning 10 games. He was winning 7 games. He was winning 8 games because his team was actually a 2-win team, but he was so fucking good that he by himself got them 6 wins. Like, people don't understand. This is not the best version of Drew Brees. It's the most efficient. This is the most judicious and calculated as far as getting the ball out to his weapons, but as far as carrying a team, like the best player, nah, that was like 2011, 2012, where this dude by himself was willing his team to 6 wins. They had no business winning when they had the worst defense ever historically. I'm not over exaggerating. They literally had back-to-back years the 2 defenses that gave the most yards ever. So yeah, like I was saying, this is not the best version of Drew Brees. The best version of Drew Brees was winning 7 fucking games. Like,
how sad is that? How bad is
but that's the part that drives me crazy. And there's a part of his legacy that is going to be very underappreciated. That's part of why he hasn't won an MVP. The best version of him didn't win enough games. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a quarterback, you're tied to your wins. It doesn't matter if you had a game-winning drive and your defense gave up a fucking bomb. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody remembers that shit, dog. They just look at your record and say, oh, he didn't do enough. You know what I'm saying? So
when he did more than enough in reality.
So that's why he doesn't have an MVP when he really should have 4 or 5. If it was just about most valuable player, he would have at least 2.
Oh, for sure.
Easy 2. But it's not about that. It's political. It's about story, blah, 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 yada, yada.
Imagine this. The year they won the Super Bowl, that was the same year. It was him and Peyton. They both started off like 12, 13-0. Remember that year?
Yeah, I do remember that year.
You know, I think Peyton won MVP that year.
Yeah, I do believe Peyton won MVP. But yeah.
Poor Drew.
Hey, it is what it is, dog. Bro. It is what it is, bro.
And he beat that man in the Super Bowl.
And he beat him in the Super Bowl, dog. That's why I said that Super Bowl is going to go down like it's a Saints fan, it's gonna be one of the most important Super Bowls that anybody's ever won at any team, ever won, because the way they've lost recently in the playoffs, it makes that Super Bowl so much more important.
Not even just that Super Bowl too, Herb. Like, and you know, we're about to move on to the next team, but the whole run. Remember who he beat? He beat Aaron Rodgers in that. No, he beat Kurt Warner.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Brett Favre in that crazy game against the Vikings. The fucking Bounty Gate.
The Bounty Gate. And it was such a weird game for me because I was rooting for I wasn't rooting for Brett Favre, but I was rooting for Adrian Peterson. And that nigga fumbled on the goal line, bro.
I'll never forget watching that, bro.
I'm like, how could you fumble on the goal line, dog?
Oh, man. And then Brett Favre being Brett Favre, dog, with a chance.
Cross his body through a fucking pick and then got obliterated at the same time. So it was like he literally added injury to insult. That's the hit that ruined him. He was trashed the next year, bro.
Yeah.
That is the hit that retired that nigga, dog.
Yeah, big facts.
Like, it's crazy, bro. But I feel like, we just went on a rant. What the fuck was the question?
Well, the question was, can the Saints, with what they have with Drew, with Alvin, with Michael Thomas, with the pieces on defense, with their with their misfortune in the past couple of years, do you think they have enough juice in the tank to go one more game, bro, to hit the Super Bowl?
Yeah, for sure. Because at the end of the day, bro, it all comes down to how good is your quarterback. And do you have a good enough quarterback to give you a chance? Because all it takes is a miracle to go their way, bro, and boom, you're in the Super Bowl, dog.
Yeah. And you know, I posed the question, and I definitely think the Saints can go back. Drew Brees has been one of my favorite players. He was my first fantasy football quarterback, and I started playing fantasy football in 2009, and he was my first. It was that year that he made the Super Bowl, so he was crazy that year. And he actually won me like this random league I got into. So I've always liked Drew Brees, and I love the fact that the Saints finally put a defense that can help him out. Just to go through a few things here, like Drew Brees is a guy who has, I want to say he has 3 5,000-yard seasons. He has at least 2, I know for a fact. Last year he didn't even throw for 4,000 yards last year. He threw for 3,992.
Which doesn't even sound right for Drew Brees. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
but that's the beauty of it, because he has Alvin Kamara in a running game. Because his defense was actually able to fucking, defend and not have to force him to have to get in throwing battles, and Drew still threw 32 touchdowns to 5 picks.
But that's the thing though. It's like, put it like this, bro. Yeah, he set the career all-time career as not all-time career, but the highest completion percentage in history, 74%. But he only threw for less than 4,000 yards. And you were right. He has 4 5,000 passing yards in his career. 4 of them. Like, yeah, 3,900, 32 and 5. You know what I'm saying? Completed 74.4% of his passes. But you're not going to tell me that's better than when that nigga threw 5,200 yards, 37 touchdowns, or when he threw for 4,800, 32, 49 and 33, 51 and 43. Like, he look at this. They went 7-9, but yeah, he threw 19 picks in 2012. But that dude was the only reason why they were in games, bro.
He had to, bro.
Had to, bro. Like, look at this, bro. 2011, bro. 13-3, dog. 5,400 yards, 46 touchdowns, bro. Only 4 picks, 342 yards a game, bro. Like, the best version of him, because there's just somebody that just has a slightly better year. 2011, he threw 46 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers went 45-5, bro. That's the same year. And then Aaron Rodgers went 15-1. Like, it's just he just decided to have the best years. He'd be an MVP in any other era, dog. It's just he's in the best quarterback era of all time, bro. So
big facts.
It's crazy when you actually put that shit in the proper context and the proper perspective, bro. Like, how consistently good this dude has been, bro.
They'll be back. They're my, we're not making these picks. I guess it's a bit of a spoiler for me, but they're my Super Bowl picks. So.
Oh shit, dog. Well, damn, bro, talk your shit, bro. Shit, dog.
The NFC, you feel
we
me?
We might as well, cause I don't think we're gonna do an episode like a Super Bowl preview. So yeah, if that's your Super Bowl pick, fuck it, dog. Like,
Saints Chiefs, bro. Oh, I think I mentioned the Chiefs in the last podcast as mine.
Saints Chiefs. I like that. I like that. That would be amazing. Like
that's what it should have, bro. That should have been it last year, bro.
It should have been, but then Tom Brady is just the devil,
bro. Tom Brady converted three third and 10s in overtime, bro. You can't not call him the GOAT.
Yeah, that's
and I hate Tom Brady and the Patriots. You can't not call him the GOAT.
This is why it's so amazing. He did that against arguably the best team in the league, and he did it on the road, and he did it in the AFC Championship game, bro. Like, this wasn't no regular season game against a scrub, bro.
3 3rd and 10.
It was, you had to get each one to make it back to the Super Bowl, dog. Like, that dude is the devil, bro. The fucking devil. But on to the next team. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talked about the Rams. We talked about the fucking Saints. There's no way you could talk about the NFC contenders without mentioning the Packers. That's who I feel is also a contender. Me and Rob both feel that way. Yeah, we could talk about Aaron Rodgers and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do that. Like, Aaron Rodgers is great, but Aaron Rodgers showed you by himself he's not going to make them a contender. He had I'm not going to say he had one of his best years, but he had a very efficient year, and they went 6-9-1. You know what I'm saying? He only threw 2 picks all year, dog. That don't even sound right. Insane, that doesn't even sound right. But that didn't do anything. They won 6 fucking games, dog. To me, what's going to make them a contender is the question I have, and they're directly tied with each other. Aaron Rodgers might actually have a good defense, and I want to pose a question. Does Aaron Rodgers have a good defense? Do the 2019 Packers have a good defense? Ever since they got rid of Ted Thompson, they made the concerted effort to invest in the defense. You know what I'm saying? Last year, they drafted Kevin King, long corner out of Washington. This year, they really spent money on defense. The old philosophy of the Packers was to draft and build. You got Aaron Rodgers. You don't got time to build niggas up, dog. Like that nigga's 35 now, bro. He got
to win now, bro.
Like, he's 35. Aaron Rodgers shouldn't just have one fucking ring. Like, we could argue back and forth on how much he has to do with that himself, but at the end of the day, he shouldn't just have one ring. Like, Big Ben has been to 3 Super Bowls, bro. Aaron Rodgers only been to 1. Eli Manning has been to 2 fucking Super Bowls, bro. Aaron Rodgers has only been to 1.
Aaron fucking Rodgers.
Like, if you go in history, all the quarterbacks who've been to 1 Super Bowl, Cam Newton went to a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan went to a Super Bowl. Fucking Brock Osweiler went to a Super Bowl, bro. You could get to 1. Greatness is you get into them multiple times, dog. Like, the Pantheon, no all-time great quarterback has only been to 1 Super Bowl.
Except one, my man
Dan Marino. He's it. Now you don't want to be this generation's Dan Marino.
Don't. Even though you did win one, but it would. I mean, in an era where fucking niggas like Joe Flacco and fucking
Joe Flacco, exactly, bro.
Super Bowls.
You could get to 1. All it takes is get hot, bro. Nick Foles got to a fucking Super Bowl, dog.
Right.
So that's why this question is so important, and I do think they have a defense. I love what they did. Like, I love it. Like I said, we could talk about Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to do that. People have been talking about that guy since he's been a starter because he deserves it. Let's talk about the rest of the fucking team. It's primarily on the other side of the field. They drafted Darnell Savage. Your name is Darnell Savage, bro. Like,
you better be wrong.
You better be wrong, bro. Like, it's in your fucking name, bro. Like, what?
They got Rashawn Gary.
Who, whether you like them coming out of Michigan or not, he has the most boom or bust potential. But I'd seen him in the preseason. Like, at worst, he's going to be a good run defender. Maybe he might not wreak havoc. Maybe he might. Matter of fact, I take it back. I know exactly what he's going to be. He's going to be what Jadeveon Clowney was for the Texans. It took 2 years, but within the first 2 years, he was already one of the best run blockers in the league. And I seen that in preseason. I seen that. They've been talking about that in training camp. Like, he's still raw. He still needs a lot of work. but he's going to be stopping the run. And if you could do that, God bless you. I'll let everybody else get you. And by everybody else, I mean Preston Smith. And by everybody else, I mean Zadarius Smith. You know what I'm saying? Now I got an actual robber safety in Adrian Amos, from the Bears. So you made the Bears weaker and you made yourself stronger. So I really, really like this defense because for the first time in a long time, I could say that the Packers are going to have an aggressive fucking defense. Like aggressive with actual players on top of Jariah Alexander, who's the press cornerback. They have so many different things they could do. And then they have Mike Pettin. Mike Pettin cannot be a head coach, but he could definitely be a defensive coordinator.
Mike Pettin head coach? No. Mike Pettin defense? Yes.
Yeah, so could you just imagine with Aaron Rodgers with the defense? Like, I still have my questions on the offense. Outside of Devontae Adams, I don't really know how many playmakers they have. You know what I'm saying? They had a really good running game, but Mike McCarthy just didn't understand that he had a really good running game, so he didn't run enough.
He was something else.
You know what I'm saying? So, and now you got Matt LaFleur, so that's a whole different thing. But the defense added with Aaron Rodgers, like, I wish I had the stats up, bro. Like they had 60. I think they gave up 20 yards or more, like 60 plays of that. Like they were terrible at keeping the lead. They were terrible, and their fourth quarter stats last year were just so bad. It's just like you can't keep a lead with a defense like that, bro. So they completely addressed everything. So I'm very interested to see what they're going to be next year.
I mean, the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers with a D, my man went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He played the Steelers. You know what I mean? And I do believe the thing with the Packers is the questions I have for them, me personally, is on offense, but it's not Aaron, obviously, because Aaron is an all-time great quarterback. They lost Randall Cobb. He was like one of the names. He wasn't even all that the last couple of years, but he was someone that Aaron Rodgers trusted. Aaron Rodgers, as people probably hear, they say he's kind of a hard guy to work with. Who does he have, bro? He has Geronimo Allison, bro. I mean, I'm looking like for the receivers here. I mean, I know he has Devontae Adams, bro, but I mean, I don't know. Is Jay Sternberger gonna do anything for him?
Man, bro.
Fuck. I mean, Aaron Rodgers can make anything work now. You know what I mean? That's what all-time great quarterbacks do. But to your question, Herb, when it comes to their defense, I'm actually very impressed with a lot of the moves they made. Are they running like what type of defense they're running? Is it 4-3 still, 3-4?
Nah, if it's Mike Pettin, you already know it's gonna be a hybrid 3-4. That's what he did when he was with the Browns. Because you got to understand, he's from the Rex Ryan tree. You know what I'm saying? Like, if what he does in the first year, and then you'll see what he does in the second year. Obviously, he doesn't have Rex Ryan, but there's a common trend. Like he'll go from the 20s. And then he'll get his actual personnel that he needs, and then he'll be in the top 5, top 2, top 3, top 7. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, Mike Pettin could be my defensive coordinator. He cannot be my head coach. No. No. Yeah, I'm hitting him with a mean Dikembe Mutombo wag. No. But he could be my defensive coordinator. So it's going to be a hybrid 3-4, some 4-3. That's why they got a bunch of fucking down linemen.
Versatile players.
Exactly. That's why they got Rashawn Gary. He could either be a 3-4 end, or he could stand him up, or he could be a 4-3 end, whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you got players like, that's why they had to go get Adrian Amos, because you're not going to have Adrian Amos just be a regular safety, fucking 12, 20 yards backfield. No,
he's going to be roaming around.
He's going to be roaming around, and you need that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to do a lot of press cover. So you'll have one side of the field doing man. You'll have the other side doing cover, you know what I'm saying, or you're running zone, you know what I'm saying. So he has
weird blitzes,
crazy fucking blitzes, crazy blitzes. You know what I'm saying. That's what he did with the Rams. I mean, with the Bills. That's what he did with the Jets. That's what he did with the fucking Browns.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like
those ultra aggressive Rex Ryan tree coaches, man.
Like he knows. He has crazy schemes when it comes to that. So, if you put it like this. The reason why I'm excited for the defense is because when you pressure teams and teams don't have the right know-all or the right idea how to counter that, they get nervous. And when you get nervous when you get uncomfortable as an offense, you get turnovers. You lose rhythm. And if you create turnovers, the more times Aaron Rodgers has the ball, the better it is for everybody in fucking Wisconsin, dog.
This is true.
So that's going to be the beauty of watching that team and watching what they become, bro. So let's go ahead and get the next team. Who's the next team that we got on our list, bro?
Well, we spoke about the Packers, so we're going to move on to a nemesis of theirs because we talked about how Aaron Rodgers and his bad luck. There was a year that I thought he should have made the Super Bowl, and the team he played against got one of those lucky wins. You remember I think it's the Jonathan Bostic miscatch.
Oh my God, bro! I could not You ever see it's a show I like that's based off a book. It's called a series of misfortunate events. So to see the Packers go up from 21-6 or 21-3, whatever the score was, it was up big. And to see them lose a game they had no business losing, and just they're gonna lose. Oh, matter of fact, they were able to get out of this. All they got to do is just
recover the
onside kick. They're gonna win this game. They did everything in their power to fucking blow this shit, but fine, whatever. You know, the football gods figured this shit. No, wait, no. That nigga fumbled the fucking onside kick in the most embarrassing way. The shit just hit him in the face mask, dog.
Bruh, it was so pathetic.
Like, how you a nigga that's on offense? Your job is to catch a ball. Like, this not a nigga that was like a safety or a kicker or something like that. He was a tight end, bruh. He's a professional pass catcher by the design of the position that he plays. And he let a onside kick hit him in the fucking face. The worst part is, this is the reason why he got fired. One, to be a scapegoat, so I definitely feel bad for him. Not to make light. I take that back. Fuck that guy, bro. Whatever. Get over it. They literally told him, don't do anything. This ain't for you. Like, just don't even try to grab the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think it went 10 yards, bruh. It's just his instincts took over and it hit him in the fucking face. And I've never laughed so hard, but I was so mad because I think I had money on that game. That's why I was so invested. So yeah, now I think about it. I think I had money. So that guy lost me money. Now really fuck him. Like, I was just joking earlier. Now really fuck that guy, bro. Fuck, man.
But not to get too off track, for those of you who have been listening, the team that they were misfortunate against happens to be a team that was misfortunate last year in the playoffs, the Seattle Seahawks. And I have a question for them. And the thing about the Seahawks is, anybody who watches football, we know this. The Seahawks are Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson are Seahawks. Because without him, I mean, let's go back through their history with Pete Carroll. The biggest thing about them, Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Who's still there, Herb? None of them.
Yeah, nobody's there from the Legion of Boom. No. Not even Earl Thomas.
Not even Earl.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with a cast of who's in their secondary now, bro?
A bunch of just fucking I don't know, bro. Shareem Griffin, not the other one. Like, I don't fucking know, bro. Like, hey, I don't know shit about the Seahawks, bro.
Bro, honestly, dog, when I was looking them up, bro, I was thinking to myself, like, I didn't even realize all the people they lost. All the people who I knew, like, they lost Frank Clark. That was their pass rusher last year. He actually had a good year. They lost Doug Baldwin, who was Russell's security blanket. He was basically his number one receiver, honestly. They lost Earl. Justin Coleman not that bad a loss. They lost to Big Jan, Sebastian Janikowski.
Man, dude, that nigga was still in the league, dog. Yeah, bro. That's crazy.
You know, and they added Ziggy Ansah. Okay. A broken Mikey Upati and Jamar Taylor. The Dolphins drafted him. I know about him. Garbage. So what did y'all do for Russell Wilson, bruh? My question, Herbo, is, will Russell Wilson have to carry the Seahawks to the playoffs once more, or will somebody get off his back and help him carry the load?
Nah, you asking me if Russell Wilson is not gonna have to do everything for that team? Nah, that's dead, nigga. That the minute he signed that contract, he knew what it was. That nigga signed a blood pact that I know my team is not gonna put anything around me, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's what that 35 a year is. That's what cost him, bro. Do people understand that 2 years ago he accounted for 97% of the team's offense? That's the highest ever of the team's offensive touchdowns. He was a part of 97% of them. That doesn't make fucking sense, bro.
That's carrying, bro. Like,
If put it like this, I've never seen a bigger argument for like an MVP ever in the history of football. Like, Tom Brady ended up winning it because fucking Carson Wentz ended up getting hurt. That's 2 years ago when they actually played each other, ironically, in the Super Bowl. But Russell Wilson should have been MVP.
Oh man.
By the like same thing with fucking with Drew Brees. Like, you can't tell me a dude who accounted for 97% of his team's offensive touchdowns is not the most valuable player. What does what does it even mean at that point, bro?
And on top of that, bro, you have to factor in Russell's not like one of these quarterbacks who sits back cozy and shit with his offensive line cool in the shade on a hammock, bro. This nigga's running for his life every fucking play that's not a running play.
It's a crime, dog. Like, it's honestly a crime. So to answer your question, dude, all I know is Russell Wilson doing whatever it takes to carry his fucking team. Pete Carroll, as great as he's been, John Snyder, as great as he's been collecting talent, I don't think those dudes really understand offensive football, bro. Like, I'm a Cowboys fan. I love the terrible game plan that they had in the playoffs against us. You're running into one of the best run defenses in the league, dog. When you have Russell Wilson.
Everybody knew the Cowboys front seven was on swole, bruh. Why didn't y'all?
Bro, like, I can't call Pete Carroll a genius, dog. Like, I can't call him a great head coach. You don't do that. Like, you don't just fucking do that. I have Russell Wilson, but I'm going to run into a brick fucking wall. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see Russell get the proper talent around him. I want to see Russell get the proper scheme around him, dog. Because look what he has to do in spite of this shit, bro. He got you a Super Bowl in spite of this shit, bro. He got you back to a Super Bowl in spite of that offensive scheme. Granted, they had Marshawn Lynch and they were a complete team and they were just a juggernaut. I get it. But he's improved. He's progressed. He should be rewarded with the like the proper talent. They got DK Metcalf. He got hurt already. You know what I'm saying? Like,
catch a break, bro. This man Russell.
I don't get fuck a wide receiver. Fix my offensive line, dude.
Yeah, keep me from getting fucking killed. We just seen what happened with Andrew Luck. My man is 29. He's younger than me and had to fucking retire from football, a game he loves. Like, get this nigga some help before he ends up like fucking Andrew Luck. We don't need to lose more young, great quarterbacks.
You damn right. I would say this. So anybody who's listening, shit, we already at 49 minutes. So we're just going to go ahead and speed this shit up.
Let's go ahead, bro.
All right. So the next two teams, we got Eagles, Cowboys. What do you want to say with them?
Well, you had the question for the Cowboys posed.
No, my question for the Cowboys, it was a continuation of the first pod that we did. The first NFL pod is what Dak Prescott we're going to get. Like, I'm the Cowboy fan, so obviously we're tied to whatever the fuck he is, bro. Like, we made a deal with the devil, and I don't regret it because at the end of the day, this is just football. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? The dude went 13-3. He's been in the league 3 years. He's already won the division 2 times. Like, as much flack as we give him, he's winning games.
He produces.
He's
results.
producing. Yeah. He's producing. Yeah. So I'm gonna be quick. Try to keep it as concise as possible. This is just what happens when we got him a number 1 wide receiver. You could see the numbers just went up. Like, before week 8, before the Amari Cooper trade, there's games where he had 170 yards passing, and then he followed up with 160, and then he followed up with 168. That's
in the age where niggas is regularly throwing for 250, 300.
Like, you can't do that, my nigga. Like, that's not cool, bro. There's nothing cool about that. 208, 183.
But let me ask you this though, Herb.
What's up?
This was, and this, I think this can make for interesting discussion because I don't think we talked about this as much last time. That was pre Amari Cooper, right?
This was pre Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper came in week 8, so everything I'm giving you was before the trade. The first game that Amari Cooper played was against the Titans. You know what I'm saying? So put it like this. I'll put it in perspective like this. Before Amari Cooper came, Dak Prescott was averaging 202 yards passing a game. That's dreadful. And when he after the trade, it didn't go up drastically, but it went up respectively. So it went from 202 to 272. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we have Amari Cooper. You have the number one. Which Dak are we getting? Are we getting a 202 passing yard a game with the good wide receiver, or are we going to see what Amari Cooper did for him, and then we're going to follow that up? I think we're going to follow that up. I think we're going to continue. I think we're going to go upwards. I think we're not going to go backwards. We finally got rid of Scott Linehan. Thank fucking God. We got Kellen Moore. And Kellen Moore said something real smart. He said, and this is why I believe in him. He said, everybody runs the same shit. Everybody's doing the same fucking plays. It's the NFL.
You just gotta dress it up, man.
You gotta dress it up. It's how you present it before you snap the ball.
Which is what makes what's made the Rams offense so potent in recent years.
Yeah, we're gonna have movement. It ain't gonna be I have my one wide receiver here, my other wide receiver here, and I got my running back in the back, or I have a
spot
every fucking play. It's not gonna be I'm either running a 2 wide set or a 3 wide set. I might run 4 wide. I might have 1 wide. I might have 3 tight ends. I'm gonna do all kinds of shit. You don't know what the fuck I'm running because my formations are going to be up to date. Something that we don't give Dak credit. I'm saying Dak Prescott enough credit for is the fact that he played in a garbage scheme. You know what I'm saying? Like, Scott Linehan was not a good offensive coordinator anymore. He became predictable. You know what I'm saying? Not to give Dak a pass, because Dak made plenty of bad passes. Dak needs a lot to go to be the best version of himself. But he doesn't have any excuses no more. He has a number 1 wide receiver. He has, at worst, the second best running back in the league. He has a still damn good offensive line. So all that said, I do think that going forward, we're going to see the 272 Dak. Hopefully we get the 300 passing yards a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully he becomes more accurate. Hopefully he becomes more decisive with his decision making. You know what I'm saying? The intangibles are there. Has 14 game-winning drives. You can't take that away from him, dog.
It's true.
You cannot take that away from him, bro.
Some niggas don't know how. Some niggas are good, but they don't know how to win.
Exactly, bro. Like,
so, that always accounts for
something. Put it like this. Speak to that fact. There's times where he could throw a touchdown, but he's going to get you a 15-yard run for a touchdown, bro. So on the final stats, it doesn't show up on that. You know what I'm saying? It's all about context,
right.
And whatnot, bro. So I like our chances going forward. Eagles.
So the question I have for the Eagles was, everybody remembers 2 years ago, and first of all, Nick Foles' magic is finally gone. That shit don't even make sense to me, dog. I wish we had time to talk about it because it's just crazy. But the question I have for the Eagles is, with Wentz back and healthy, can the Eagles reclaim their status this season as the top seed in the NFC? And the conclusion I came to, well, I kind of spoiled my pick. I do think the Saints are going to the Super Bowl, but do I think the Eagles are capable of getting back to that? I absolutely do. They still have they're still a team that has a lot of talent on that roster. Now, first and foremost, they're getting the MVP quarterback back. Carson Wentz last year, he had a bit of a drop off after dealing with that injury.
Man, listen, I'm not trying to cut you off, even though I just did. Are we sure that niggas is cold? Are we sure that nigga's as cold as we think he is, bro?
I was gonna get to that. So during his MVP year, my man's was before he got hurt, 33-7, which is pretty damn good numbers, bro. He was looking pretty damn good. Following season, after coming off the injury, he only threw 21 touchdowns, still threw 7 picks, but he didn't run as much as he did last year. I mean, as he did the year prior. That's probably back to because of his injury. And the thing with Wentz was last season. He did have a few performances that I watched, and I was just like, man, you ain't looking like the franchise guy that I thought you were. But when you look at him, when you look at what he has around him, though, when you look at what they have on defense they have one of the most terrifying fronts you could face. On top of already having niggas like Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, they added Malik Jackson, bro, who I think last year he kind of had a little bit of a down year last year as compared to previous years in Jacksonville. But Malik Jackson's a beast, bro. To go with Brandon Graham, to go with motherfucking Fletcher Cox. They have a strong secondary with Malcolm Jenkins, with Ronald Darby. I mean, defensively, they're good. Offensively, they added Deshaun Jackson. We'll see what he does. And he's been the best deep threat probably ever.
This nigga still is out here getting 20 yards of reception, like 20 yards of reception, bro. It doesn't make any sense.
Bro, it's ridiculous, dog. But the man still got it. At running back, I want to say they got Jordan Howard.
Yeah, they do have Jordan Howard. And what the fuck, bro? Like, how do you go from potential rookie of the year, 1,300 yards on a bad Bear team, and then next thing you know, you're not even on the Bears no more, bro. Like, you done. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like,
Tariq Cohen took his job, bro.
Nah, he went from that just shows you how important the scheme is, bro. Like, this nigga went from a top 20 running back to just another guy on the fucking Eagles, dog. That fast.
That quick, bro. And that's why people don't want to be paying these running backs, bro. They're so, replaceable. But yeah, man. They added Zach Brown. I'm not gonna say much about Vinny Curry and all that. But in any case, I think the Eagles, with the talent they have, the thing is, the biggest question is which Wentz we gonna get. You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna get the Wentz that was closer to the MVP season, or are we gonna get Wentz last year who was more closer to the pack? I'm optimistic about Wentz being better than he was last year. He's not gonna be as good as he was as MVP year. No. But I think he can get closer to that than he was the year before. So I think they have a good shot.
I hate that we lined it up again like this because honestly, I want to actually have that the Carson Wentz conversation. I think he looks a lot better than he actually is, and to me, he is the NFC version of what Andrew Luck was. But I think Andrew Luck was a lot better. I do think that. I think the system and the ease of the scheme really masked his flaws. Because think about it. Nick Foles was able to win a Super Bowl in that same system, dog.
And that's damning, bro.
And here's the thing, though. Nick Foles didn't just win a Super Bowl. Nick Foles won playoff games. So it wasn't like Carson Wentz got hurt in the Super Bowl and Nick Foles just came in and finished the shit off. No, that nigga didn't even play a playoff game. Nick Foles was so good that he beat Tom Brady and won Super Bowl MVP, a legitimate Super Bowl MVP, almost threw 400 yards. So what exactly did you see from Carson Wentz that was like, damn, dog, like that nigga's cold? No, that system was fucking cold, bro. If you see the first year and then you see the third year, it might be just like with Cam Newton. Cam Newton's MVP might just be the outlier. What has Cam Newton been? Was he closer to the MVP Cam Newton, or has he been closer to the regular Cam Newton that we seen
prior to the MVP?
Prior to the MVP, I feel like it's going to be another situation. I take that back. He's not Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was a far better quarterback. Carson Wentz is Cam Newton of the NFC East. and I honestly believe that MVP season was an outlier, masked by an incredible scheme that was so good that a backup quarterback was able to win Super Bowl MVP and be a fucking legend in the city of Philadelphia for the rest of his fucking life.
I was gonna say, Herb, I'm sure all the Eagles fans or any Eagle fans who listen to this are gonna be like, man, this nigga's just a conspiracy theorist, nigga. Fuck that nigga.
Nah, bro. Wait, put it like this: his rookie year, dog. Like he led the league in most interceptable passes.
Yeah.
Like, and then you saw that again the third year, and people was like, oh, he's coming back from an injury. No,
well, I mean, people are always gonna give a nigga the benefit.
But that's the thing, though. Like, I feel like he's gonna be really, really covered. No matter what, he looks bad. Like, any game he looks bad, oh, he's still trying to come back for the injury. Nah. Was he injured the first year when he was out here just throwing shit up, and then if niggas just didn't catch it? You know what I'm saying?
He did get it. That's one of his. That's another thing about him, though, bro. He's injury prone. He's been hurt every year, so you can't even trust the nigga to finish the season. So, I mean, they don't have Nick Foles to fall back on no more.
Nah, they really don't. They really don't.
So they're going to need him to finish.
And that's the thing. Because like this, they had to get rid of Nick Foles because if he looks bad any kind of way, they're going to be like, well, put fucking Nick Foles back in, your fucking moolies. What is wrong with you?
And Phillies fans are known as the worst
They
in football.
had to get rid of Nick Foles. Like, getting rid of Nick Foles was as much about Nick Foles taking $20 million a year, and I know the Eagles weren't going to do it. They weren't going to pay that, but they were incentivized to not pay that nigga $20 million. You can't pay a $20 million. Like, Nick Foles had to take that because you're not going to get that money nowhere else, bro. And then the Eagles are not going to pay a fucking backup $20 million, bro. So it was a good problem to have. But I bet the Eagles aren't losing sleep that Nick Foles not there anymore. Yeah, you lost a quality backup, quality. However, you lost potential noise, you lost potential distraction. Come to be, I'll take that back. If Carson had any signs of him not being A1 or not being the quarterback that he's supposed to be in your eyes. So in that sense, they win. You always want a good backup quarterback, but at the end of the day, if your quarterback doesn't get hurt, you don't have to worry about your backup. So now we're an hour in. These football conversations just take a life of their fucking own, bro.
I was gonna say, since we are gonna do a pod on the worst teams, we could throw the dark horses.
Nah, fuck that. Who fucking cares? Let's knock this shit out right now. Dark horses. Let's just do rapid fire. Your dark horses.
My 2 dark horses, Falcons and 49ers, bro.
What? Yeah. The 49ers, my nigga.
I like, you know what, bro? I like 2 guys on the 49ers a lot. I like Shanahan a lot, and I like Jimmy G, bro.
Even though Jimmy G had one of the worst preseason games. And it's preseason, but my nigga looked at Trezola.
Oh, he looked bad, and he even had a practice where he threw 5 picks, but I'm going to wait for the season to start.
All right, bro. Listen.
We didn't get a chance to really delve into it, but...
you definitely threw me for a loop.
I like to do that. But the Falcons, I mean, the 49ers are like my throw it into the wind, maybe they'll do a pick. But I do think the Falcons have a good shot. Injuries robbed them. I don't even like the Falcons. I hate them, actually, because they lost the most pathetic fucking fashion against the Patriots. Like, you were up 28-3, nigga. You were up 25 points in the Super Bowl. I will never forgive y'all for that. But I'm objective. I think they're good. Their defense getting hurt last year robbed them of a playoff appearance, and I think they're not going to have anywhere near close to the injury luck they had or bad injury luck they had last year. So I think they have a good shot to be a playoff contender.
All right, so we definitely agree on the Falcons. And it's crazy because literally 5 minutes ago I was just dogging this nigga out. I do think the other team that I have as my dark horse is going to be the Falcons and the fucking Panthers. I just feel like the Panthers just come around every 2 or 3 years, bro, and it's just their turn to be good again out of nowhere, dog. So there's no real rhyme or reason to it, bro.
I mean, it's a good feeling to have.
Yeah, I could be more like the Vikings might get whatever issues that, bro. The NFC is just so deep, and it's just like it could be any of 10 teams, dog. Like, it's crazy, bro. So let's go ahead and leave on that note. Another good episode in my opinion. Have fun again.
Of course.
Like I said, we always love the feedback. Everybody's been hitting us up saying like, hey, keep doing what y'all doing. So if you're listening to it, appreciate it. This is probably going to be the last episode that's on YouTube. Everything going forward is going to be on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, everything going like that. So definitely subscribe and add our fucking channel, add our fucking podcast, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Like my nigga Bomani Jones say, if you give us anything less, I'm inclined to believe that you are a hater, and haters are not accepted, bro. So we're going to go ahead and check on out. Rod, go ahead.
It's your boy Rod, man, and I think another job well done on the football pod. Always love doing this for y'all. We like doing this. We're going to have an anime pod and some more stuff coming up soon. Rod boy, Rod man, Couch Bros, signing out.
You already know it's your boy Herb, signing out for the Couch Bros. Deuces.